Good afternoon, all. Camelback Trading 2724 and the pitfuturestrading.com coming to you this Wednesday afternoon, March 25th. We're looking at the market profile of the SPY ETF here on Window Trader. What a day. Pretty wild day today, as a lot of things happened today. We had the price probe from last night, which ended up holding this morning. We came back into it. We traded back and forth through the opening a bunch of times. I said whoever wins that will win the day, which they basically did, except for this incredible M period flush out. We got up to two balance highs within a 7-day balance on the daily, which I'll show you later, which would turn out to be a good sale in A period and a good sale at the high of the day. Now, very importantly, the SPY did not take out last week's high. So we're still one-time framing down. The ES did. So the intermediate term in the ES has stopped the one-time framing down. We did not. And I'm glad I didn't know that at the time. I had a tremendous short position, which I'll talk about in a little while, which was a very, very poor risk-reward trade. What was this flush out at the end of the day? Well, it could be for a number of reasons. You have jobless claims coming out tomorrow. They still haven't voted on the stimulus bill. But I think the most important is we got to the top, and you'll see it on the daily chart, of a 7-day balance and couldn't get through it in the SPY. So maybe you just had some weak longs puke up. As far as opportunities today, so A period opened. We gapped open for a second, got filled immediately. Came in, took a trade, went below the price probe initially, got on board, took it up, got above the opening, had a nice trade on that. We got up to the high, and you'll see on the daily why we really changed course and came back in pretty good. I'll show that in a little while, but that was one trade. B period, as soon as we took out A's low, got on board with a short for two reasons, a couple of reasons. We were one-time framing down. We got back into SA's range. We got below the price probe. I was looking for at least M's low, if not POC. It certainly didn't get POC, got down to M's low, even below it, took it off. That was a very nice trade. Then I got myself in a lot of trouble. So C period, stopped the one-time framing down right away. We had trouble, right? We went through the opening 4 out of the first 5 time frames. And I kept saying, whoever wins this is going to win the day. If the sellers win it, we get below it. We're going to get accepted back into the SA's range, accepted below the price probe, and go down to POC at least. If the buyers win it, we're going to go up, and the odds of taking out A's high would be very good and go get those other daily highs I've been talking about. Now, I didn't expect to almost get all of them. So, what did I do? F period came. I went down, made lunch, eating lunch, did nothing. If anything, what I should have done is gotten long when F took out A's high, but I was eating lunch. I had a good 2 trades, so I decided to do nothing. But then, this is where I got myself in a lot of trouble. Started shorting it in G, H, and I. And I shorted it with options, and they were starting to rip against me. I was buying the 257 puts that expire this Friday, and at one point got long 300 of them and was out a lot of money. The one thing that was keeping me somewhat sane is I knew we were getting right about to the weekly high, and I was hoping, and there's no wishing and hoping, but I was hoping that sellers would defend that. Now, at the time, I did not know ES had already taken out their weekly high. I might have traded this a little differently if I had known that. It's a good thing I didn't know it, because then, lo and behold, it held. We started coming in, and I finally took it off some point around J's low and got it all back and even a little more and turned green on that trade. Horrible, horrible risk reward. I should have had the easy trade being long the whole way up. And then again, when J come down, I was so fried mentally now that when I finally got out of the trade, that was a good long, because we bottomed out here and J went right back up. K never took it out, went back up, but my mental reserve was gone. I watched the rest of the day. So it still turned out to be a good day, but it was just a horrendous trade, fading a trend day. We had 3 sets of single prints at one time. And it was just poor risk reward. And I'm telling you that because I know, I've done it many times. I know people do it. And especially the fact that I said whoever wins the Open is going to win the day, and then I started shorting it up here, was just absolute stupidity on my part. But fortunately, it worked out. All right, destinations. So for tomorrow, after everything that transpired today, right, we had 3 sets of single prints, gone. We had an afternoon pullback low at one point, J, gone. So all we have is today's high and today's low. So even though we have a $17 range or so, high and a low after M wiped everything out. So on the upside, 256.35 will be our first destination on the upside. Then we have 256.90, which is last week's high. 257.10, 11 wide from March 13th. And above that, there's another vacuum to 271.08. For the downside, we have today's low of 239.75. And then below that, we have 9 wide from yesterday at 237.86. The afternoon pullback low of 235.05 from yesterday. And then 233.80 daily low, and in that huge gap, 229.39, 441 tick gap. When you really look at it a little bit, if I was to put this together, it's sort of a P shape. Now, is this just short covering? I don't know. We've had a tremendous run. So it remains to be seen on that. So now let's go to the charts. And we'll look at 2 charts, the weekly and the daily today. So here's my weekly chart. Now, again, we just missed taking out last week's high by 55 cents, I guess. So that was a saving grace for me with that position I had. So we're still one time framing down. So even though we've rallied, right? We rallied from 218.26 up to 256.35 today. $38 we've rallied from the lows, $38. But we're still one time framing down in the weekly and certainly in the monthly. So nothing's changed really there. Now the daily is the interesting one. Right? This is your outlier day where we made that new low but never started a new leg down. Gapped open high yesterday in this balance. So I said today, if we're able to take out yesterday's high and this day's high, the odds of these 2 highs going are very, very good. And that's exactly what we did in A period. We got right up to them. But what I should have realized, I didn't realize, because above that I said, okay, now we have a vacuum up to these 2 days highs. But lo and behold, we did do a pit stop at this balance high and came in pretty good initially. But once we got through it again, then again, you had basically a vacuum up to these 2 highs. We got one of them, just missed the other one, very luckily for me. So now I'm going to encompass, except I'm not going to include the 23rd. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a 7-day balance, which I'm going to use. 256.90 is the top of it, and 228.02 as the bottom of it. So right now we're in a 7-day balance, and that's the high, that's the low. Disappointing the way the market came in? It is, but we also had a tremendous run from the lows from Friday. So now we'll see, right? We have the initial jobless claims tomorrow and see if this thing gets passed. So that's going to be your next fuel. Now, we still have not crossed the 200-day moving average. It's coming. It'll probably be here tomorrow or on Friday. Now, I don't know. I said this earlier today, I believe. I'm not a huge believer in that because by the time it does do that, look at the move we already had. So, but it is something a lot of people look at. So, I have it on my screen. I wouldn't have the 50 to 200 on my screen at all. But people, a lot, especially when it's short-term traders, see that as important levels. So, that's, for the most part, that's who we're trading against. So, you got to know your competition. So, I certainly want to know where they are, right? It makes sense to know where it is. Volume, 290 million, very, very good. We're going to do over 300 or at least 300 with the after hours. Certainly better than yesterday, right? So, yesterday with the after hours, we did 235. So that's very, very good. So on another up day, we did tremendous volume. So that's impressive for the bulls. So now we'll see. If we fail at the top of the balance, well, your next destination is the bottom of it, and that's 228.02. So it remains to be seen what transpires tomorrow. I hope you had a good day trading. Have a great night, and we'll speak prior to the opening tomorrow.